So good morning all. So let us start the session. So last class we discussed about learning techniques, learning mechanisms, different learning mechanisms. In that we complete error correction learning. So what is error correction learning? In error correction learning, you are going to find the difference between the actual output and desired output, and you call that as a ek of n. Ek of n. So ek of n equals to dk of n minus yk of n. So what it means is dk of n is nothing but desired output, and yk of n means actual output. Now, so what is the concept in the error correction learning? In the first step, you are finding that this is the error. So this is the error you got in first iteration. You got error in first iteration. In next iteration, you are going to find the weights for the next iteration. Okay, so that we discussed in our previous class. In today class, we are going to discuss about the next topic. So next learning mechanism, that is memory based learning. Memory based learning. In memory based learning, all of the past experiences are explicitly stored in a large memory. Okay, so what is a memory based learning? In memory based learning, so all the past experiences are explicitly stored in a large memory. In a large memory. In memory based learning, so we try to mimic the way the brain recollects the information. How our brain recollects the information? In the similar way, in the memory based learning, we are going to try to mimic the way the brain recollects the information. So let us take an example. So for example, you are going to write an exam and you encountered a question which is similar to one you have encountered during learning. For example, so this is the question you are going to face when you learn 5 plus 3. So 5 plus 3 is the question. Okay, so now when you are writing the exam, the question 15 plus 10 is encountered. So 15 plus 10 is encountered. So even the values of the questions are changed. Here the values of the questions are changed. You still know the way to proceed to answer. So how? So already your brain knows that how to perform the addition. Even the values are changed, then also you are going to find the addition for this problem. Okay, so how does our brain do this? Means the brain simply compares the question with all the set of questions you have seen before and find the one which is closest to this question. So what it means, so for example, you learn 5 plus 3, or otherwise so plus operation minus asterisk slash, for example percentage operations. So for example, some of the fellow gives like it, a star b, a star b, but actually we'll learn it as a multiplication, as a into operation. But somebody gives this asterisk, then you can compare this based on your knowledge. So this is the knowledge you have. So plus subtraction, it's a hyphen, into slash and percentage, and somebody giving a star b, then so this star is very close to this multiplication. Then you can identify that. So you're going to do the multiplication operation. Okay, that means how our brain do this. So the brain simply compares the question. So this is the question, so asterisk, with all set of questions you have seen before. So you have seen these questions so before this question. Now so find the one which one is closest to this question, a asterisk b. So means you can identify that this is multiplication operation. So that is how the brain recollects or remember the questions. So now, so this will Now this is what is implemented in memory based learning. Okay, so it's a memory based learning. In memory based learning, just wait. In memory based learning, all of the past experiences are explicitly stored in a large memory. Okay, so now in memory based learning, we feed the system or make the system memorize or store in the system a lot of input and output pairs. Input and output pairs. So input output pairs is nothing but here, just wait. So input and output pairs is nothing but, so for example, so this is the xi. For example, for this x vector, so let us take this as a x vector. So this is the x vector. It is a input vector. It is a input vector. Now, so what is a x? So x vector contains inputs x1, x2, x3, and so on xn, and so on xn. And d bar. So d bar is the outputs for these inputs. For example, d1, d2, d3, and so on dn. Okay, so now, so this x vector contains the inputs and this d bar contains the output. So for x1 the output is d1, for x2 the output is d2, for x3 the output is d3. That means, so here the x bar is the input vector. This input vector may contain a lot of inputs. So all these are the inputs. And the corresponding desired output to the input vectors x bar is also feed into the system. Now you can feed these two. So for this x, you are going to give the this as a output. That means, so for x bar, you are going to give the outputs. Just wait. Okay. The corresponding desired output to the input x bar is also fed into the system. Now this d can also be a vector like d1, d2, d3 of dn. Okay, now so you are going to uh, pair these input and output. That means for xi, so what is the output? Di. For xi, the output is di. So now we feed the system with a lot of such input output pairs xi comma di, xi comma di. So this is the one pair, and so on xn comma dn. So what it means, for xn input the dn is the output, for x1 input the di is the output. Now suppose the system encounters a test output x bar t, and the system has not seen this input so before. So this input the system does not see so before. So what it does, it will compare this x bar t with all the set of inputs it has already been feed with and find the closest one to x bar t. Okay, that means, so this is the x bar t. So x bar t is not in this data. So what the data we feed to the system, so in that x bar t is not there. Now the system will compare this x bar t with all the set of inputs it has already been fed with and find the closest one to x bar t. So suppose x bar j, so this is the x bar j is the closest to x bar t, then the desired output for so dj. Okay, so for x bar t the output is dj. Why? So this x bar t is so close to this x bar j. Okay, so the output of the xj is dj, so the xt output is also dj. Okay, so let x bar j so being to the set of inputs that x1, x2, etc. xn. Now, how did we determine that x bar j? How did we determine that x bar j is closest to the x bar t? X bar t means by taking Euclidean distance. Here you are going to find Euclidean distance. Euclidean distance. We discuss with one example. Euclidean distance. So how we can say that the x bar t output is dj, the xt output is dj. So why? Because here the x bar t is closest to the x bar j. How we can say that these two are the closest? There are remaining values are there x1, xi, xk, xm. Many inputs are many outputs are there, and how we can say that so xt is closest to the xj means here we are going to find Euclidean distance for all the data in the memory. Okay, so how we can find that? So plus, minus, into, slash, percentage. How we can say that? So asterisk is similar to this multiplication means here we are going to apply some logic that the into is similar to this cross, this star is similar to this into. Okay, in similar way here also, if for example xt, we don't know the output for the xt. Now we compare this xt, the inputs we feed to the system. Now how we can compare means by using this Euclidean distance. Okay, so now, so when we find the Euclidean distance, just wait. So when we find the Euclidean distance, so the xj, so now for xj to be closest, we say that, just wait. So we say that for x bar t, for x bar t, so what is the output? dj, dj. So how we can say that for x bar t, the closest input is xj, xj. So xj output is dj. So we say that xt equals to dj. That means now for xj to the closest, the Euclidean distance xt and xj should be the minimum of Euclidean distance between xt and xi. So how we can write that means so min I so d of xi comma x test, xt means x test sample here, equals to so d of x n dash plus comma x test, x test. So this is the Euclidean distance between so xt and xi. Just wait. Okay, here in this, so this is the formula. If you observe, this is the formula. So min of I, so d comma xi comma x test equals to so d of x x dash n comma x test. Okay. Now, so let us take one example. Just wait. Okay, so let us take one graph. So consider the neural network to classify the inputs in two classes. So let us say so class A another one is class B. Okay, there are two classes. For example, if I give any input, so this may be A or B. You are going to classify like this. So for example, if I give this point, so this is the test. Now you can identify that, so which this belongs to, this test case belongs to, so which class. So let us take an example. So consider the neural network to classify the inputs in two classes. So let us say class A and class B. So basically a binary classification system. This was a binary classification system. Here we are going to classify this test as A or B. So what the algorithm does is that, so when an input pattern is provided, it will put the pattern either to class A or class B. So for example, initially we must have feed the algorithm with a large number of inputs and corresponding outputs. Okay, for example here, so this is the A. So this is the A, A, A. Okay, so these are the B's. B. Okay. So let us map the inputs here and take one test case. So for example, so this is the test case. So this is the test. Now, so this belongs to A or B. So this belongs to A or B. So how we can classify this? Means you are going to find the nearest one. So nearest neighbor. Now, so this is nearest to this B. So this test is test. We can classify this test as a, it belongs to B. It belongs to B. Okay, that means so the inputs point is classified into class B. The input point is classified into class B. The input here be classified into B. Let the input here be classified into B. That means why? Because so this is very close to this neighbor B. So now suppose that we have a test input over here. So for example, another test input here. So this very close to this A. So we say that this input belongs to A. Okay. So now, for example, just wait. So for example, so when we feed the algorithm to the system, so unfortunately the A is placed here. A is placed here. Okay. So now, if you give the input here, here I am going to give the input. Now, so this input belongs to, so which category? It belongs to A category or B category? It belongs to A category. Why? The distance, it's a neighbor is A. So we say that the input is belongs to this group A. But actually this belongs to group B. How we can say that? How means here, so this A is unfortunately so placed here, or so because of poor algorithm the A is placed here. Okay, so here you are going to find the distance, Euclidean distance for neighbors, not for all the neighbors. For example, if you check the Euclidean distance for all the neighbors, then we can identify that so this input belongs to B. Okay, so that means so when we check the input pattern to this test input is A, so the algorithm will classify this test input into class A. But we know that so this is wrong. Okay, so in order to overcome this, we will compare the test input to the nearest neighbors. Nearest neighbors. So not to one neighbor. This input will be compared with the nearest neighbors. Okay. So what it does it that it will take the distance of test input to all the closest neurons in the neighborhood, and we can define the size of the neighborhood. So before the hand. Okay. So when the algorithm processes the data, it will find that the test input is closest to a more number of B's than A. So we say that this is belongs to B. Thus, it will rule out the false if it A and classify the test input into B itself. Okay, I hope you all are understand some memory based learning. We see one more time quickly. So this is the theory. It's a memory based learning. In memory based learning, all the past experiences are explicitly, sorry, just wait. Okay. In memory based learning, all the past experiences are explicitly stored in a large memory. So large memory that can be classified into input and output. That means for x1 the output is d1, for xn the output is dn. Okay, so for example the x2 belongs to d2. Okay, that indicating here. So xi comma di I equals to 1 to n, where xi denotes the input vector and di denotes the corresponding desired responses. Okay, here you are taking, in our previous example, you are taking A and B as two groups. In this, so theta is zeta, yes. So zeta 1 and zeta 2. So these are the two groups. It's like A and B. So this is the one group, this is another group. Okay, now so this represents 0 and this represents 1. Same example, the similar example. So these are the all the zeros and here all the ones. If the 0 is here, now the distance, the input will be closest to the 0. So we think that this belongs to 0, but actually here it is 1. So here we are going to check the distance between all the neighbors. Okay, so this is about memory based learning. So next one, Hebbian learning. Hebbian learning. So what is Hebbian learning? So Hebbian learning is introduced by the Hebbian. So Hebbian learning mechanism is one of the oldest learning rule. One of the oldest learning rule, and it was proposed by Donald Hebb. Donald Hebb in his book Organization of Behavior in the year 1949. Hebb's postulate of learning is the oldest and most famous of all learning rules. It is named in honor of the neuropsychologist Hebb. So pointing from Hebb's book, The Organization of Behavior, 1949. Okay, the Hebbian learning mechanism is one of the oldest learning rules, and it was proposed by Donald Hebb in his book Organization of Behavior in the year 1949. Okay, he postulated that suppose there is a neuron A. Suppose there is a neuron A and another neuron B. So this is the another neuron B. If A is near B, okay, so A is near B and A so fires B, so A fires B or excites B continuously. Okay, so this is the neuron A, so this is the neuron B, and so A is near B and A fires B or excites B so continuously. So continuously the A fires B, then the metabolic changes will happen in both the cells. Okay, this A neuron so fires the B so continuously, then the metabolic changes will happen in both the cells A and B such that A's efficiency to fire B will increase. So because of this fire by A, the efficiency to B will be increased. The efficiency to B will be increased. Okay. So what is the Hebbian learning mechanism? If there is a neuron A and neuron B, if A is near to B and A fires B or excites B continuously, then metabolic changes will happen in both the cells A and B such that A's efficiency to fire B will increase. So in simple terms, if A fires B repeatedly, then the ability to fire B also increases. So this is an actual phenomena happening of our brain when we learn something. Okay, this is a normal phenomena to our brain. How? So for example, we can learn the things quickly. So why? Because we are going to give the fire to the neurons. So that means something. For example, if you learn any sometimes we forget the things. Why? Because the neurons are not firing. If any neuron fires continuously, then automatically the synaptic weights of that neuron will be increased. Okay, that means this is normal phenomena to our brain. So that is the reason why Hebbian learning mechanism is very similar to the physical changes that happen in our brain. So when we learn something new, that means if you learn any new things, then you are going to memorize those uh, new things by firing your neurons. Okay, that means if you think continuously about the topic, then you get the knowledge regarding that topic. Okay, however, HEP's postulate is based on a neurobiological context. So neurobiological context. So how do we translate it into a way that we need? So that means here we are going to mimic. We try to mimic the human brain. So this is the how the human brain behaves. So now, so how we are going to translate it into a way that we need. So that means how we can translate into how to implement in an artificial neural network. So how means it can be done by breaking the postulate into two simple rules. So these are the two rules. Okay, the first one is if two neurons are either side of synapse connections or activate simultaneously, then the strength of the synapse is selectively increased. Okay, what it means? So this is the one neuron. This is one neuron. So this is another neuron. If two neurons on either side, if if two neurons on either side of a synapse, this is the synapse. So this is the connection. Okay, or activate simultaneously. That means these two activating simultaneously. That means these are firing. Then the strength of the synapse. What is the strength of the synapse? W. So for example, so this is the K neuron, this is the J. So now the weight is WKJ. WKJ. If two neurons are either side of a synapse are activated simultaneously, then the strength of that synapse is selectively increased. This Wij will be increased. If two neurons on either side of a synapse are activated asynchronously, that means the reverse to this. Here there is no, they are ideal. Then that synapse is selectively tweaked or eliminated. That means now the weight will be weaked or eliminated. Okay, so these are the two simple rules. So one is if two neurons on either side of synapse are activated simultaneously, then the strength of the synapse is selectively increased, And another one is if two neurons on either side of synapse are activated unsynchronously, so then the strength of the synapse is selectively decreased. Okay, here in first case we have a synaptic neuron, so J, and post, this we are called as a presynaptic neuron. So presynaptic neuron. Why? So this is the synapse. So for this is the first one. So presynaptic neuron K, and this is the post synaptic neuron J. Okay. So if they are simultaneously excited, then the synaptic weight, so WKJ, is increased. And similarly, if it is unsynchronously, then the weight of these two neurons will be so decreased or eliminated. Okay. In tomorrow class, we are going to discuss about the remaining things, the advantage, all these things in the Hebbian synapse. So this is about today class. In today class, we learn about some memory based learning and some part of Hebbian learning mechanism.